Tom Holland's new Uncharted movie was the biggest surprise of the year, and here's my review. First off, do you need to play the video games in order to enjoy this movie? No. Will it help your overall experience? Hell yes. Overall, I think the movie succeeded for three main reasons. We are getting deep into this one, so here is your spoiler warning. Numero uno, mirroring the source material. The first Uncharted game, called Drake's Fortune, was developed by Naughty Dog and released on November 2007. Straight after that, it became one of the most powerful and gripping action-adventure video game series of all time.
Wow.
After 4 successful mainline games and a magical finale in 2016's A Thief's End, we've been waiting to see Nathan Drake's story on the silver screen for a while. As soon as Tom Holland was announced to be taking the spot of Nathan Drake in the live-action adaptation, people were excited but still a little bit concerned. Some people wanted to see Nathan Fillion taking on the role, but that never happened. Without a question, Tom has the charisma and is one of the hottest actors in Hollywood right now.
Give me a minute, okay.
But Nathan Drake is considerably older and more mature in the games.
How dare you, I've never been so sold in my life.
After watching the film, I can honestly say that the age is not an issue because they are taking a different approach to the franchise. Instead of being a shot-by-shot recreation of the entire series, they've taken different aspects of every single game and blended them together. There are some notable changes to the narrative, but nothing that hinders the film in my opinion. In the games, Nathan Drake can only be described as cocky, snarky, and super charismatic. Tom certainly has that vibe, but he's playing a more naive version of the treasure hunter to give his own take on the character. What that's done is that it's allowed Sony and Columbia to create a viable movie franchise around this character without forcing the audience to play the games in order to enjoy them. Numero dos, setting and defying the expectations. It is no secret that video game movies often end in disaster. The quality is either abysmal and unrecognizable from the source material, or you do a carbon copy of the game and you bring nothing new to the table. This film sets itself apart because it set expectations correctly and defied the odds despite the initial reviews. During the promotional run for this film, the actors and the creative team behind the film let us know exactly where we were gonna get. It's not trying to be the Interstellar of action movies. It's trying to be a globe-trotting action-adventure movie within the Uncharted universe. You can clearly see the effect this had on the reception by looking at the preliminary reviews. I was a victim to this. I saw the reviews prior to going into the theater, and I was visibly disappointed before the movie even began. The majority of the critics were arguing that this was just a retread of Indiana Jones, and I went in with low expectations. But then I saw the audience reactions, and I knew something was up. Most of the audience, whether they be gamers or first-time inductees into the franchise, loved the experience. And the reviewers were not the only ones, considering that the movie brought in an approximate $44.1 million at the box office this weekend domestically. That number exceeded both the studio and industry expectations. They were expecting around $30 million for the entire weekend. Sony already mentioned that the movie could end up making over $51 million over the holiday weekend, considering President's Day. The key factor that I think led to the success both critically and financially for this movie is that it tried to bring homage to the video games while also becoming its own thing. Y número tres, setting up the future. Naturally, we weren't gonna get a new movie franchise without talking about some sequels. And I think this is where Uncharted did a really good job. Give us a solid introduction into Sully and Nate's relationship, you add in Chloe for a good measure, and then you set up the sequels perfectly through the post-credit scenes. They dropped a ton of video game references, from Sully's mustache,
Don't ask. Don't
to the original Golden Guns, and obviously the German army. During one of the post-credit scenes, Nate goes into a cafe and is confronted by somebody that was hired by Roman and gathering a treasure from the German army from the Second World War. This was a great clue for all the gamers because this is the exact same premise of the first game, Drake's Fortune. Overall, I think Uncharted did everything that it was meant to do and surprised a lot of us in the process. Traveling to different countries, the fight choreography, the sets, the relationship between Sully, Chloe, and Nate, they carry the film. The pacing is a little bit off because it goes really fast trying to set up both characters while also bringing us the adventure narrative. But thankfully, it fixes itself up in the second act and ends in a beautiful way. The only thing that I truly did not enjoy for the entire film were the villains because they were just not fleshed out correctly. One-dimensional and predictable villains are never a good addition to the story. And honestly, they just didn't give me any reason to fear them. Besides all of that, I had a great time at the cinema and I can't wait to see what they come up with for the sequel. I will be watching the movie again and giving you a breakdown of all the Easter eggs that I found. So, if you want to see that breakdown, make sure to like this video, share it with a friend, and press that subscribe button with the notification bell on so you can get an instant notification whenever I post the video. And if you want to support this channel a little bit more, we already have the channel memberships. This is a 3-tiered membership system that you can purchase on a monthly basis to help support me, the quality of the videos, etc. All you have to do is click the join button that you see on my page and check which membership tier fits your budget. Again, not mandatory, but very much appreciated. Alright, familia, that is all it from me. Make sure to crack a smile, ride the wave, and I'll see you on the next one.